Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video. Today we're going to look at the newly dropped tournament promos for Set 16, Realm of the Gods. We've got a good mix of kind of support for decks that are in this set, but also some interesting choices for some kind of revival and kind of legacy support for some older archetypes. So really excited to kind of cover that and talk about it. And real quick, if you guys are watching this day of January 14th, I'm streaming from like 9 to 5 my time. So if you're watching this when it first comes out, chances are I'm still streaming on my Twitch and we're doing some BT16 testing and everything else. So make sure to hit the link and check me out there. Should be a lot of fun. If you're already interested in this stuff, we're going to be testing some of these cards and everything. But let's jump into the first guy. So we've got the Sidoria entering the fray. If your leader card's a red Frieza army card and you have one or more energy, when you choose one card in your hand, discard it, and then when you play this, you play one Frieza spaceship from your deck, which is fantastic for the archetype. We're going to look at the archetype in a second. But also, for one red, when you have 3 or more red energy, when this card is KO'd by your leader card's skill, choose up to one of your Frieza cards with any cost of 5 in your hand and play it. So this goes back to the Themed Booster 3, which was the last themed booster. Also, this came out like exactly 2018 January. I remember getting a box of this for my birthday like 3 years ago. So yeah, this is a very old set, and it's funny this is getting support now of all time. So it was an okay kind of idea. It's kind of a Frieza swap kind of archetype. It has the spaceship, which this card was really good for what it was, but it's kind of clunky and hard to get out. So the Sidoria being able to play it is fantastic. Yeah, so at the end of your turn, choose up to one red Frieza army card with any cost of 2 from your hand, play it. If you play a card with the skill gain, just draw 1. So just being able to get that extra cycle, getting more cards out. A lot of these boys also draw cards for, when they're played in general. So for example, this Raccoon, before your battle card's red, no other color, you can look up top 5 cards for your deck to choose a red Ginyu Force, then play it. So just a lot of good synergy for all of this stuff. And here's the leader for it as well. Being able to look top 2 cards for your deck to add a red Frieza army card from them to your hand means that you have more chances of seeing this by turn 2 for its effects. And then also it's awakened side, so it has an activated once per turn. Choose one red Frieza army card in your battle area, KO it, then choose one card in your hand and place it in the drop area. This card gains plus 5k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So just having like that plus 5k for not only offense but also defense is great. And then you can play a 5-drop red Frieza, which is primarily this boy. So it's crit double strike on a 25k, so being able to play this for 1 is good. And it has this really old style kind of auto. So auto once per turn, when one of your opponent's players to play a battle card, activate a skill that puts battle cards into play. If your leader card is red Frieza army, you may choose one card from your life and place your drop area. If you do, the battle card is played with the skills negated for the duration of the turn. As far as I know, and I could be corrected, this is an auto, so it gets around deflect, and also because it's before the card actually hits the board, it gets around barrier too. So this is a really fantastic thing to play around. So if your opponent's playing like the new Universe 7 red deck, trying to play that Goku with deflect to clear your board, you can use this Frieza Showdown instead to just wipe all the effects for the cost of 1 life. And I think, as far as I know, that's how that is. That's what I recall playing this card a couple of years ago. So this is a somewhat good boss monster for all these effects. Obviously, it doesn't have any protection, doesn't have deflector, doesn't have barrier, but being able to cheat this out and also being able to get Frieza Spaceship up and live and everything else, I think this is a cool idea. I think this will help the deck out. I'm looking forward to people testing this guy out a little bit more. Going to the next card, we do have this Son Gohan Universe 7 Challenger, which this is an interesting card. I think it's okay. Pretty much it's a Kaba's Awakening for specifically mono red Universe 7 leaders when you combo this. The fact it's searchable is fine. The fact it's a Son Gohan, it's okay. I don't have a lot to say about this guy. It's an okay card. I don't know if it's going to see play because there's just, I feel like just a lot of other better Universe 7 red cards for it. Maybe the fact that it has like a unique name is okay, but it's okay. It's not fantastic, but it's I don't have much to say about this. So going right along, we also have this Aandroidd 18 Stalwart Assistant. This just seems like a worse version of Gohan from the set, and I think that is okay, I guess. They pretty much have the same auto when you play this card. The only other difference is, I guess, one, it's an Aandroidd instead of a Saiyan, so if that matters at all, that's okay. It's a 5k on the board instead of a 4k, so if that matters at all, okay. Other than that, I don't know. I think it's okay for what it does. I mean, if you're not playing skillless battle cards anyways, I guess Aandroidd 18 is slightly better. because of its effects, but it's just a minor card. I don't think this is a big impact for what it does. And unless there's just something with it having an Aandroidd trait instead, I don't think this is moderately better. It's just like another version of this, I guess. If you really want to see your Unison's turn 2, you can use both Son Gohan and this Aandroidd 18 to make sure you get there. Moving right along, we do have this Great Priest gathering the angels, and I think this guy is okay. You just play it, you look top 5 for a blue angel, and that's fine. But I think the Whis card that comes out of the play set, or from the new set itself, is just better. This Whis right here, where is that? This one. No, this is the other one. There's 2 1-drop Whis, and they look the same from the set. Where's the other? Here it is. All right. Rejuvenating support. So when this card's played, look top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 God card among them to your hand, place them ring at the bottom. And then for limit 1 active main for 1 blue, 1 colorless, you can untap your leader and play a Beerus for free. Based on my testing with this list and like this archetype in general, I feel like blue is definitely the color you kind of want to focus on. So Whis is already color on for that. For this guy, you have to play maybe charge like a red-blue specifically, I guess, if you still want to play a blue card turn 2. And the fact that it only finds multicolor gods, I find like there's a lot of just monocolor gods you still also want to run in this deck. So just being able to look at gods in general, I think the Whis is still better than this guy. And the fact that the Great Priest doesn't get a way to get rid of your it just doesn't have a way to restand your leader. I think it would have been okay if it had like an active main for 1 red and 1 colorless to do the same thing that this does, without maybe just untapping your leader and maybe playing just a multicolor god for 2. I think that'd be fine, and I think that could have been put on this guy without it being broken and would have helped the archetype. But the way it stands, I think it's just an okay tutor and you have to play red with it, and I don't know if red's the best color for it. But that's my opinion. I don't think he's super duper good. Next up, we do have the Beerus coming to blows, and I'll say real quick, we have the blue archetypes in this new set are really weird, and I haven't really played with them or wrapped my head around them. But the Whis one is pretty much playing battle cards and having your Beerus swing over them for effects, right? We saw the blue-yellow one, which is nice already, and obviously this can be played off of that 1-drop Whis we were just talking about, so that's fine. That's kind of nice for what it does, and I think this is needed for the deck if it works, and so I'm not sure how good this guy's going to be in general, but if the archetype of playing boys to swing into battle cards is a viable strategy, I think this is a good card for it. Because just if your opponent has 2 more energy when this card attacks him, you choose 1 blue god card with a combo cost of 1 in your hand, use it in a combo. If you do, draw 1. So the one that you really want is the Spear's Ruthless Pursuer. So it has an auto limit 1 if your leader card is blue and this card is in your combo area. When one of your blue battle cards attacks and KOs an opponent's battle card, draw 1, then play this card from your combo area. So then you have a 20k double striker, and then limit 1 when this card attacks and KOs an opponent's battle card, switch this card to active mode in one of your blue energy. So there are plays to do with this. I think it's fine. You get a 25k super combo essentially for free because you combo with this guy and you draw a card, and then if your opponent doesn't get cards out of their hand to stop this, then you get to play another 20k double strikeout that could potentially pop another thing and go from there. I think it's sound on paper. It's just going to really honestly, this is one of the decks that can be just punished by what's actually in the meta and how you can play around it and stuff. So I have to test this stuff out more, but I think it's a somewhat okay game plan, especially because, turn 1 Whis, turn 2, play this Beerus off the Whis, restand your leader, swing in with the Beerus, and the leader that you do it with is this Whis invitation of battle. So the active main, you switch this card to rest mode, draw 1, then play up to 1 blue or yellow skillless card, 15k power from your deck or drop area into your opponent's battle area and rest mode and shuffle your deck. So the super quick combo is you play this, you play a battle card in rest mode, you swing with your Beerus, you combo. Before you swing, you play the 1-drop Whis effect, play the Beerus for free, untap your leader, swing in with Beerus, get the effects, and then you can retap your leader, play another dude, and then you swing it with your 4-drop Beerus. Hopefully you made sense. I don't know. I think there's plays. We'll see how it goes from there. Next up, we've got Whis Stalwart's Assistance. So to get it's a 1-drop counter attack, but also during your auto when this card During a battle in which one of your battle cards attacks an opponent's battle card, when this card is used in a combo, gets plus 5k. So it's a free 10k, trying to swing over things. So that's fine. I don't think it'd be. It's fine. I don't know if you would need to restrict it to only when you're swinging into something compared to just when your battle cards in a battle. I think that would have been fine. Or maybe like a draw. Probably the draw one probably would have been busted. So I think this is fine for what it is, being able to be like flexible for what you're doing. I think it's an okay card for the archetype, and if it works, then you probably run like 2 or 3 of this dude. Next up, we've got the Goku Black, and I really am excited about this guy. So he works for the old Zamasu list, and I'll bring that leader. I'll bring that up right now. But essentially, he's an alternate way to awaken on that dude, which is nice because sometimes like your opponent, you have to wait until your opponent gets to 3 energy essentially to be able to awaken. So being able to awaken on your own too, just by having this very searchable card is good. And then also activating limit 1. If your leader card is a blue Zamasu card and you have 4 more energy, you can play this card from your hand, which is good for your combo plays. But here's the leader that you'd work with, because it has to have specifically a blue Goku Black and Zamasu. But it has a nice, when this card attacks, look at top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 blue or yellow Goku Black or Zamasu among them to add it to your hand, which means that you can find this guy pretty consistently on turn 2 to get your awaken, which is nice. And so you get to draw 2. You can awaken at high life and a 15k leader very early. And then you also, you can choose active main prid cards. Like this is just like a really kind of defensive control leader. And then from there, you can go into your big boys. And so being able to play Goku Black for free is nice, especially when you can go into like your 5-drop Zamasu Advocate for Evil. And then you can use that. Like being able to EX evolve for this for free is great, especially then if you can go into your big 9-drop, which will go into your field cards. So I think all that feels good for what you're doing. I think it has a lot of potential to being a kind of strong contender. So I know Goku Black and Zamasu also just got a bunch of yellow support with its Wish leader. So, but if this works, I think there's a high chance for this to be viable, and people are going to be trying it out, which is the cool thing. People trying out old archetypes with new cards, and I think that's really, really cool and fun about this game. Moving on, we've got Dr. Wheelo, and this is talking about doing that. This is probably my favorite card from these promo sets. It's probably, maybe it's trash. Who knows? I don't yet, but it's a Unison, and it's a 5k Unison, which is okay, strictly because this kind of archetype is supposed to not like this Unison's not supposed to live. It's supposed to just kind of get its effects off and go from there. But +1, you can play a green Dr. Wheelo card, or sorry, if your leader is a green Dr. Wheelo. Choose up to 1 Dr. Cochin or 1 Frenzy Warrior with any cost of 2 or less in your hand to play it. So being able to play probably one of these boys here. Dr. Cochin Madness 1 is probably the best one to play off this guy. So it's a blocker, it's a revive, and so every time you play it, you get to a free cycle, like put 1 card underneath your lab, and then you get to draw 1. So that's kind of nice. And then I don't think there's really anything else we'd want. I mean, there's this guy. So when you play this card, look top 7, choose 1 Frenzy Warrior among them to add it to your hand, and then you can play a Frenzy Warrior with any cost of 2 or less. So, I mean, you can play like 2 guys for free, which is nice, but most of the Frenzy Warrior cards are not great. I'll just say it. I know it's controversial. It's a hard opinion, right? But they're not great. And the only way to really get this leader to kind of work is by using its effects to go into your big boy lab and then winning from there. Like this lab is really good, and you get a lot of removal. So you have to get, for this guy to win, you need 17 cards underneath your lab to win, but it's possible. I don't think it's crazy. It is a lot of cards, don't get me wrong. But the fact that it can remove cards from your opponent's field and stuff in drop area, I think is kind of nice, especially where we are at in the game. So, being able to use the lab. And so that's what you put underneath it. So the coach and being able to get a blocker and get revive stuff is nice. Unfortunately, the +1 means, you have to have that. But if you want to go a little bit sillier, you can do the -2, choose up to 1 Dr. Reload card in your energy, or with any cost 4 or less in your hand, play it. If you do, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards with any cost 5 or less and place them underneath your lab in your battle area. So for 2, being able to play a 3-drop and also being able to get rid of potentially 2 of your opponent's cards and put them underneath your win condition is fantastic. And so with this -2, you're able to put up to 4 cards underneath it if you use the 3-drop Gigantic Bomber, which I think this is the one you'd want to do anyways. It's got Blocker, Energy Exhaust, and Revive. And then when you play this card, choose up to 2 battle cards in your opponent's drop area and place them underneath your lab. So that's fantastic. And if they pop it, you can use the Revive skill. And then if you do, you can play another 2 cards underneath there. So that's 4 and then 6, which is this guy by itself. So that's like almost halfway there just by playing this Unison and getting it to get the full resolve. So I think that's fine, and that's kind of worth it for doing it. And I'm just going to try out the leader again. I think it's kind of worth it. But also, it does help just revive archetypes as well. So if you want to play more of a revive strategy, I think that also kind of works out for you. But you definitely want to play this Dr. Cochin, and you definitely want to play this Dr. Wheelo for what you're at. We also do have this actual 4-drop Dr. Wheelo, but it's not fantastic. Yeah, when you play this card, you can choose a Frenzy Warrior from your hand, and then you can KO opponent's battle card. If it put underneath your thingy, it would have been okay, but this Villainous is not great. You can also just like KO Dr. Cochin, which means you get the Revive and then play this card for free. It's okay. I don't think it's the one you want, but there's some synergy. And once again, the real win condition for this guy is being able to play the 6-drop and then place 6 cards on top of your deck underneath your lab. So really, you only need to get to 11 cards with this, which this guy gets pretty much by like halfway to himself, just because he's able to do his thing. So I think there's some potential for this being okay and having some chance, and we'll see if it's still janky or if there's, I don't know. I like alternate win conditions. I think it can be fun. All right, next up we do have the Son Goku Path to Revival, which is also a green Wish Leader support, which I really, really like. If we look here, we do have, what would be the better keyword? Probably just Desire, huh? Yeah, probably just Shenron. That's probably the word we want. There we go. All right. So looking at these, the guy, this one, playing it for 1, being able to find Dragon Ball is fine. It helps the deck out and helps it pretty good. And for 2, if your leader card is a green Shenron card, play 7 Dragon Balls from your drop area underneath this card to play a Twin Onslaught Goku in your hand and on top of it, which strictly is probably so you can't use this effect in the same way where being able to use the 7 and this guy all at the same time. But being able to play this guy for 2 energy is pretty good. Burst 5, deflect, double strike, and then when this card's played, if there are battle cards, you choose all your opponent's battle cards, KO them, and the remaining ones are negated, and then this guy gets dual attack. So it's fine. And then obviously when the card dies, you put the Dragon Balls back, and so you can do another one next turn. And then the Unthinkable Fate is if your leader card's a green Shenron card, choose 1 battle card, place in the owner's drop, choose up to 1 green Goku GT with any cost 2 or less in your drop area and play it. So you can play this card for free with Unthinkable Fate, and then for 2 you can play your big boy and then just pressure your opponent. I think just being able to continuously loop this and do this is good for what you're doing. Additionally, you can obviously use Chilai and Lima for this effect too. You're not limited to just the tiny warrior Son Goku. But I think this offers at least like some, like the biggest thing for these leaders, based on my own experience, is that you have a really hard time getting like a win condition or putting a lot of pressure on your opponent. So having a card that comes out for cheap, pop some cards and can be a 25k dual attack double striker, I think is okay. I think that's something that you can play towards, and you can maybe put some pressure on your opponent and kind of go from there. It is, obviously your opponent can do a lot, but just the fact that it can pop things for being played, I think is okay for it. That's, I think I gotta talk about this guy. We'll try it out. I think, Unthinkable Fate is a good card to, being able to, for 1, play it for free. Obviously you have to, it's from drop area, which is nice. I don't know. And I think there's some other green Goku GT stuff that can help with it. I don't know. I'm going to test this out for sure. Next up, we've got the Vegeta Fatherly Encouragement. And this is probably out the gate. This card is probably the best card immediately, just because I know that the Trunks Future archetype is good. And it is a counterattack, which is okay. It's a 1-drop Vegeta, which means that if you need to go into, like, if you don't find any other cards, but you want to awaken your Trunks leader with Vegeta underneath it, you can use this guy. But additionally, being able to, restand any Trunks card without any restriction for free. Yes, if it's your opponent's turn when this card is used in a combo, choose up to 1 Trunks feature in your battle area and switch to active mode. So all that means is that in a lot of ways, it can do a lot of like it can be a 10k combo because you can untap one of your 1-drop trunks and then combo with it. Or if you're blocking with your blocker trunks and you need it again, if you need it to live and then also potentially do another block, you can just combo with this Vegeta. I think it's really flexible at what you're doing, and it's just going to help out the deck a lot for what it is. So it's okay. I like the idea of it, and I think people are going to try it out. Probably not a 4-up, but maybe like a 2 or 3 with this guy as well. But I think it will be good if this deck is good. And spoilers, I think this is going to be one of the best decks moving forward into BT16. Going next, we are looking at the Boar, and spoilers for this, I don't really know as much about this archetype as others for BT16, but it is a swap archetype. So you can swap this guy into a 4-drop version of itself, and there's one of those that exists. Actually, is there... Let me just look up Deborah. There's Xeno Deborahs specifically, so I don't think there's any other ones that I can think of. No, there's strictly only the one from the new set. So, anyways, so you go into your new boy here for free after doing the swap, so that's kind of nice. And this guy itself is essentially a discard. Yeah, when this card is played, draw 1, and then your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand, sent to the warp. So it's a good swing of card advantage there. But then the other effect is that when this card is played, your opponent can warp a card from their hand. If they don't, you can choose one of their battle cards with energy cost less than 4, or their leader card, and they can't, or their rested leader card, and they can't, they can't attack next turn. They can't attack until the end of the next turn. So being able to do that is good. So they either warp a card, or you essentially prevent them from drawing next turn because their leader swing will generate a card draw for most leaders. So I think that will help out. I think that's fine. I think it's fine for what it does and being able to go into the next one. I just don't know about this archetype. I think it's kind of weird, and I haven't tested it out at all. So if this archetype's good, I can maybe see this guy being okay at it, but I'm honestly not sure yet. Next up, we've got Demon God Poutine. This one I think is going to see more play. I think this one is readily more accessible in the sense that it makes sense where the power comes from. So it is a 3-drop Poutine right here. You can overwhelm it. Dark Overwhelm it for 2 if you want to. It has blocker. And when this card is played from your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, any cost of 4 or less, switch to active mode and gain control of it. We've seen these gain control effects not really work out in the past, but I think how flexible this guy is just helps out a lot, especially because we do have this 1-drop Poutine from the new set that swaps into it. So I think people are playing this Poutine anyways to be able to play this Demon God Poutine because this plays a token and has the nice active battle for what you're doing. So if people are playing these already, having more targets for this can't be bad, especially since you can alternatively just Dark Overwhelm it, where this can also do that. So I think people are going to try this out. Probably like a 2 of and kind of like a tech card, but I think it's okay at what it does. And then lastly, we've got Super Saiyan God Vegeta Divine Restraint. This is kind of like the twin to the Goku one that has kind of the same kind of energy exhaust negation kind of thing. And it's a red-blue version of a Vegeta BR that is a 10k, so you can use it for your fusions and your unions and stuff. This gains plus 3k power for each card in your energy, but it has a nice counterplay. Play this card, and then if the battle card has a power of 20k or less, it's placed at the bottom of your owner's deck instead of being played. So I think this is honestly a pretty good card for what you're doing. The kind of new version, at least, of weighing to play the blue-red BR Vegeta and Goku deck, I think you have a lot of energy that's flexible and open. And so being able to have like a counterplay like this, that's also a Vegeta BR, that's also a 10k, that's also on archetype and everything else that you're doing. I think this is probably going to be one of the stronger ones. It's also not leader locked in anything. So if you're playing like a red-blue deck already, you can play this guy, but I think this is just a fantastic card, and honestly, I think it's probably a little bit better than the Goku we're getting from the premium packs. Probably a little bit more flexible, but just the fact that if this archetype is good, which I think it's going to have some chance moving forward, I think this is going to be a staple for that archetype. But I think that is going to be it for the cards we're showing off today. Let me know what you guys are excited for. Again, if you've made it this far into the video and it's still Friday, January 14th, chances are I'm streaming, so check me out on my Twitch. And that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys very much. Let me know what card you're excited to test and play with in these promos. Catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it. damn it.